Well, for once, the common name is actually correct. Kangaroo paw ferns do come from down under. Let's talk about Microsorum. What's up, fellow plant enthusiasts? My name is Dylan, and this is Bain's Botanicals. Today, we're going to be talking about Microsorum. Usually when you think about Microsorum, you think about the kangaroo paw fern, which is Microsorum diversifolium. I've actually heard the species called different things. And in my recent research, kangaroo paw ferns can also be called Zealandia, I think is the genus name of some of them. Or, hang on, I've got it pulled up here. Yeah, Zealandia, which makes sense because they're from like Australia and New Zealand, but I want to say that they're still in Microsorum. Now, to complicate matters a little bit further, this actually isn't a kangaroo paw fern. This is a monarch fern, if my app is correct. And a monarch fern can either be Microsorum or Phimatosaurus, which I'd never even heard of Phimatosaurus. I think that the two genera are kind of synonymous with each other, but this is, we're just going to say Microsorum. Microsorum scolopendria, I believe is the species name, and this is actually a pretty fern. It's not quite as elaborate as a kangaroo paw fern, at least not at this age, but as it gets bigger, I think it will start to really come into its own. And if you notice that you kind of hear that suffix S-O-R, sorum, sorus, that's because ferns have something called sori, which we'll do a fern video eventually. And they're basically, if you ever look at a fern and you look under the underside and you see the little dots, those are sori. They're kind of reproductive structures that produce spores because ferns don't produce, like reproduce in the traditional way that we think of. They don't get pollinated or anything like that. They basically clone themselves, but whatever. It's another video. Anyway, so taxonomy insanity aside, let's just go ahead and do this. Here's the taxonomy information for Microsorum because we're just going to call them Microsorum and keep things simple. And this is in the family Polypodiaceae, which contains a few other ferns, but not all of our houseplant ferns. As far as care goes, Microsorum really just needs like medium light. You can give it bright light, but not too bright. You definitely don't want direct sun because it will burn it. Try to consider where these things grow. They're going to be in the forest, kind of in the understory. They're not going to be getting those bright direct rays of the sun. So it can definitely withstand medium light. Actually, this particular one, I feel like you could almost go low light with it, honestly, because they're just so used to being shaded by other trees and everything. You could probably go low light, but you still have to give it some. Watering, it just needs to stay consistently moist. Not sopping wet, but you don't really want it to dry out because you will start to get the crispy leaves at the bottom and everything. Just like any other fern, you don't really let ferns dry out. As far as soil goes, just a regular houseplant soil is perfectly fine. Fertilizing, ferns can be a little bit sensitive to fertilizer, so it's a good idea to dilute it, especially if it's a synthetic fertilizer. But during the growing season, I still do bi-weekly, and during the dormant season, just nothing from kind of late fall, winter, and early spring. What else? Humidity, they need humidity. The Microsorum can be on the lower end of the humidity spectrum, but they do better with it. And even just the pebble tray method, you don't have to get a humidifier if you don't want to. Even just the pebble tray method where you get a saucer, put some pebbles on it, sit it on there, keep water in the bottom of the pebble tray, perfectly acceptable. That will give it some ambient humidity. You can mist it too if you want. And actually, I think that's all the care tips. Microsorum is a cool genus of ferns. If you don't have one, definitely go out and find one and try one. I'm excited to see what this one does. I'm going to do some more research as far as taxonomy goes. I mean, Phimatosaurus is a cool name, don't get me wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Microsorum. But yeah, I'm excited. I think that's all I have about Microsorum. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing and everything. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to hear what your experience is with Microsorum. If there's any other really cool species of Microsorum out there that you have, let me know. And until the next video, I will see you guys soon. Thank you.